Hi, thank you for joining us for another craft video. Today we're making these adorable little yarn birds. All of these kits are now available at all 3 of our locations, so if you don't have one, go get one, and if you do, let's get started. Okay, so let's get started. So in your kit, you're going to have 3 different little bundles of yarn. You're going to have a darker color, so either a gray or a black. You're going to have a colorful bundle, so either this colorful bundle of pink, gray, and white, and then you're going to have another bundle of white. Along with the yarn, you're also going to have 2 pieces of cardboard. You're going to have a short piece and you're going to have a long piece. So what we're going to do to start is we're going to take the darker bundle and we're going to wrap it around long ways around this piece of paper. So it ends up looking something like this. Make sure you have kind of an even amount hanging off the ends. If this side is like way longer, just trim it down. And then we're going to do the same thing with the 2 other bundles, but we're going to use the shorter piece of cardboard. So in the end, instead of all this, we're going to have this. All of them, wrapped long ways, not short ways. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take a pair of scissors and we're going to put the scissors underneath the yarn, kind of halfway on the cardboard, and we're just going to cut it. So instead of a little bundle of yarn, you just have a bunch of really long pieces. We're going to put those aside, and then we're going to do the same thing with the other ones. We're going to take the colorful one, get the scissors under there, cut right in the middle. Okay, and I would recommend holding it up and just making sure, most of them are even. If you have like a piece that's really, really long, I'll just trim that back as well. And we're just gonna do the same thing with the white one. Just cut it right down. Sometimes they might kind of fall apart. You can just always put them back together. Okay, so now that we have our 3 little sections of yarn, we're gonna put aside the colorful one for now. Just kind of set it off to the side and those pieces of paper. So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna lay out the white piece just like in front of you. And you're gonna take one of the gray pieces out of the bundle, and then you're going to lay this one, the gray one, vertical facing you, and then take the white one and put it right in the middle so they're on top of each other. Next, you're going to take the piece that you took out and you're going to lift up the bottom of the gray yarn so you can just tuck it underneath there. Because what we're going to do is we're then going to fold this over. So you're folding the gray over the white. And then you're going to take that piece that you took and you're just going to pull it up so you can tie a knot and pull it together like so. Try to pull as tight as you can and then just make a little knot. Okay. So you want this to be kind of tight, so kind of like when you're making a ponytail, I would just kind of like, pull the yarn so that the piece of yarn is really tight against the white. And then you're just going to do the same thing on the other side. You're going to pull out a single piece of the white yarn. You're going to kind of put the white so it's facing you like that. And you're going to tuck the piece you took out right under the bottom. And then you're just going to pull it up, wrap it, and tie that one on too. And then make a knot. Pull on the bottom so it's tight. And then you kind of want the 2 pieces of the yarn to kind of, instead of going like straight out from one another, you kind of want them to be more of like a right angle, if that makes sense. So just kind of like pull and move the yarn until they're connected more like that. So then, once you have this, you're gonna take your colorful yarn and you're gonna put it right on top of the knots where they gray and the white come together. So just lay those in front of you right there. Take the colorful yarn and just put it on top. So like that. And then you're gonna find a piece of scrap paper anywhere around your house. It can be this size, it can be a little bigger. This is what's kind of gonna determine how big the body of your bird is gonna be. I wouldn't do a whole lot bigger than this. Like I wouldn't use like a whole sheet of paper because then you'd see the paper sticking through the yarn and you don't want that. So you're just going to basically make a ball like that. And you're gonna put it right on top of the colored yarn. Right where the colored yarn is on top of the knots holding the other two together. So like that. And then this is where it gets a tiny bit tricky. You're just going to kind of wrap them all over each other like that, so that all the yarn is hiding the piece of paper that you put in there. So one more time, you just kind of have your piece of paper right in the middle and you're just gonna close it all up over the piece of paper. So what you would have then is something that looks like that, which is already kind of starting to look like a bird. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna take a piece of string, or you could take a piece of yarn from one of these bundles earlier, and you're just gonna tie it around the base of where that piece of paper is. So maybe like right about there. So there's one that's already done the side. So what we did was we just wrapped a piece of string on the bottom so that you were holding all the open pieces close. And it's kind of starting to look like a bird. So next, we're going to attach the beak and the eyes. So in your kits, you also will find a little orange sheet of paper. So this is gonna turn into your beak. So what you're gonna do is, you're kind of gonna make a really small like trumpet or horn out of this piece of paper. So you're just gonna kind of fold it in the middle and then just kind of like roll it in on itself until, you know, you form a little thing like that. And then you're either gonna tape it or you're gonna glue it together. So then in the end, it'll look something like this once you trim off the rest of it. So if you tape it together, you got all this left over and you don't want that big of a beak because, you know, your bird is kind of small and that would just look bizarre. So you just want to like trim it right there so that the beak is a little bit shorter. And you end up with something like that. And then what you're going to do, this glue gun isn't plugged in, but you're going to take a glue gun and you're just going to glue it around the rim of the back of the beak. And you're going to take it and put it right kind of where you see that like little V. You just want to put it like right there. And hold it pretty firmly so that the glue has the chance to stick to as much of the yarn as possible. Maybe kind of twist it a little bit so it really gets in there. Hold it for a minute and then you should be able to let go and it should stay. All right, and then the eyes are very easy. In your kit, you'll have 2 of these little tiny black beads. All you're gonna do is put a tiny little dot of hot glue onto these little black beads and put them in the finished product. You're gonna put them kind of right where the border of the gray and the yarn kind of meet, kind of close to the nose so that when the bird, you know, is on its side, it kind of looks like it's like a lot closer to the beak than it really is. If you look at it straight on, it looks a little goofy, but from the side it looks better instead of like putting it like way up here, putting it down a little bit further. All right, so now that we've done the beak and the eyes, all that's left are the little feet, because this thing can actually stand up on its own, which is really cute, like that. Okay, so in your kit, you're also going to have a little piece of like orange or copper craft wire. So you're gonna fold it in half so that each end is fairly even, like that. And you're gonna take your bird and you're gonna put the closed end kind of through the yarn right above where you would have tied it off. I'm just gonna tuck it through the white yarn just right there. And then you're gonna pull the two ends together so that they meet. And you're just gonna start twisting. Try to make it as tight as you can because it's not very like stiff copper wire. So you wanna make it strong so that it can work better as a stand and the bird will actually stand up. And once you've twisted it quite a few times and you have about that much left, this is where you just kind of have to improvise and just kind of like twist it and try to make as much of a stand-like base as possible. It's not going to look exactly like feet, but just give it enough of a base so that when you set it down, you can kind of like press on it a little bit to kind of like, you know, make it more flat so that the bird can stand up on its own. And once you're done with that, this one is kind of like cleaned up a little bit, but when you pull all of these yarns together and tied it off like we did before, you might want to like trim it around just a little bit. I like to make it a little bit longer in the back because it looks like a little tail. You don't have to do either. You can make it all short if you'd like, but yeah, this is the finished product. You can either set it on a window ledge or around Christmas even, you could put a piece of string behind it and make it into a little ornament. All right, thank you.